Chances are common in the justice system when it comes to driving under the influence. One defendant in Sarpy County has had a shocking number of opportunities to turn around his drunk driving behavior.
Mike McKnight tells us the law gave him yet another chance that ended in a close call.
In 14 years as a deputy Sarpy County attorney, Ben Perlman has prosecuted an estimated 200 drunk drivers, but none with a driving history of 48-year-old Michael Evesick, allegedly caught drinking and driving again.
Our records show that between this latest arrest and going back to 1997, the defendant's been convicted of drunk driving as many as 12 times.
The most recent DUI arrest, December 2nd. The arrest affidavit states that on a Friday about noon, police were called to a gas station in Bellevue on the report of a possible drunk driver. A witness had seen a vehicle almost hit a gas pump. The officer states Michael had bloodshot eyes and could barely talk. A preliminary breath test registered .302, nearly 4 times the legal limit.
Just a few days after getting off probation, he offended again?
Right.
What period of time?
Within 3 to 5 days.
Evesick served less than 2 years in prison for felony drunk driving and released on probation with monitoring. But November 29th, a judge signed an order approving early discharge from probation, about 5 months early by our calculations.
It's on the radar now.
Andrea Frazier is executive director of Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
People need to be held accountable, and most importantly, the community needs to be kept safe. And this individual, I think, probably was high risk and unfortunate that he was allowed to get off probation early.
Evesick's probation officer submitted the application for early release. State probation won't comment, but points to the early discharge statute that says for low to moderate risk to reoffend individuals who follow the rules, the probation officer shall submit an application for early discharge. In other words, the probation officer had no choice.
We don't understand why early release is an option. Is this something that we can maybe work with a state senator to really understand why the law is written like that?
Since probation ended early, the various drunk driving prevention devices lifted just 4 days before Evesick was arrested for DUI at a Bellevue gas station.
Allegations that a gas pump is almost hit, so the concern speaks for itself.
On your side in Sarpy County, Mike McKnight, 6 News.
Despite the defendant having a dozen drug driving convictions on his record, the law only allows the ones in the last 15 years to count on any new charge. So Michael Evesick faces a 3rd DUI offense and several other charges like driving while his license is revoked and refusing an alcohol pretest have also been filed. Evesick remains in jail on a $500,000 bond, and he declined an interview request.